The Mi Note 10 Lite sports the same 6.47-inch FHD Plus AMOLED display on the regular Mi 10 Note. The device comes with a water drop style notch which holds the front camera. It is powered by a Qualcomm Snapdragon 730G chipset. The device comes with two variants, 6GB of RAM and 64GB of onboard storage, or 8GB of RAM and 128GB of storage. If you consider the price, you are getting a good deal with the spec provided by Xiaomi. It also features a 3.5mm headphone jack. The phone comes with MIUI 11 based on Android 10 out of the box. Mi Note 10 Lite featured a quad rear camera array along with dual LED flash, a primary 64MP Samsung GW1 sensor, an 8MP ultra-wide camera, a 5MP macro lens and a 2MP depth sensor. You can record 4K video at 30fps with this device. Over to the front, the Mi Note 10 Lite have a 32MP selfie camera. As for the power, there is a 5260mAh battery with 30W fast charging support. With this battery, you can easily go through a day without any trouble. The Xiaomi POCO F2 Pro brings back the pop-up front-facing camera, which we haven't seen much of in 2020 compared to 2019. This ensures the 6.67-inch AMOLED screen isn't broken up by any notches. POCO F2 Pro features an almost completely bezel-less display, with the company quoting an 87.2% screen-to-body ratio. It offers 180Hz touch sampling for better gaming. The display does deliver HDR10+ support. The chipset in here is the Snapdragon 865 paired with 6 or 8GB of RAM depending on the variation. This is the top-end processor available to Android phones at this time, and that should ensure great processing speeds. You will have no trouble playing games in this device. The POCO F2 Pro is also a 5G phone. POCO F2 Pro is made for the gaming enthusiasts in mind, with a massive cooling system, a large multi-layer graphite, and 9 built-in temperature sensors. It intelligently predicts and controls its internal temperature, ensuring sustained peak performance even when you are playing games for long hours. There are 4 rear cameras on the phone consisting of a 64MP main, 5MP telephoto, 13MP ultra-wide and 2MP macro snapper. But there are a few camera features that might impress, including 8K video recording and a macro shooting mode on the telephoto lens as well as the dedicated macro lens. It can record 8K video at 30fps and 960fps super slow-mo video at 1080p resolution. It sports a motorized pop-up 20MP selfie camera on the front. The POCO F2 Pro features a 4700mAh battery with 30W fast charging support that charges the phone fully in just 63 minutes. The Redmi K30 Ultra comes with a 6.67-inch Full HD Plus Samsung AMOLED screen with 120Hz refresh rate. It has HDR10+ support. The screen itself is vibrant and rich with colors. You will not face any problem in daytime because of its high brightness output. The K30 Ultra is powered by MediaTek's flagship processor, the Dimensity 1000 Plus chipset. This is a very powerful chipset. You will not find any lag or stutter during day-to-day uses, and gameplay experience is amazing. It supports 5G with carrier aggregation and MediaTek proprietary 5G Ultra PowerSave power-saving technology. The device comes in 4 variants, 6GB of RAM and 128GB of storage, or 8GB of RAM and 128GB of storage up to 512GB. On the camera segment, the Redmi K30 Ultra features a quad camera setup at the back. The main camera here is a 64MP Sony sensor, a 13MP 190° wide-angle lens, followed by a 5MP telephoto lens and a portrait lens. Over to the front, you get a pop-up camera with 20MP snapper. You will get flagship level picture quality with this device. The camera captures great details. Color reproduction is great. Even at night, it does better than many mid-level smartphones. You can record 4K video at 30fps and 1080p super slow-mo video at 960fps. This device is backed by a 4500mAh battery with 33W fast charging support over the Type-C interface. Xiaomi Mi 10 seem to fit all the criteria of a premium flagship. The display could impress many people. This phone have a 6.67-inch OLED touchscreen with HDR10 Plus support and a screen refresh rate of 90 Hz to make content and motion look a bit smoother. Screen curves at the edges, and there is also a punch hole cutout camera in the top left of the display. The Xiaomi Mi 10 used the top-end Snapdragon 865 chipset coupled with 12GB of RAM and 256GB of storage. That chipset has an adjacent 5G modem. One of the most important features of the Xiaomi Mi 10 is the 108-megapixel main camera, which takes fantastic picture and supports 8K video recording like the Samsung Galaxy S20 series. There's also a 13-megapixel ultra-wide camera, a 2-megapixel macro snapper, and a 2-megapixel depth sensor. All of these different lenses work smoothly and delivers stunning picture quality. When capturing still images, target exposure is stable and accurate. Further, Xiaomi has improved the dynamic range over the last year's phones. It have a 20-megapixel front-facing camera too, which is a pretty decent resolution for the selfie snapper. Pictures are good enough for the price range. In terms of battery, the Xiaomi Mi 10 actually has the larger power pack than the Mi 10 Pro with a 4780 mAh battery capacity, so the Mi 10 will likely last a bit longer. It has 30-watt fast charging, 30-watt wireless charging and 10-watt reverse wireless charging, which lets you use the device as a wireless power mat for other devices. The Mi Note 10 Pro brings all the features of a top-end phone but without the top-end price tag. It's got a beautiful curved edge screen with a 6.47-inch Super AMOLED display. The colors really pop, max brightness is pretty high, images look textured and contrast is good. At the top of the screen there is a small teardrop notch in the center which houses the front-facing camera. There is a Snapdragon 730G chipset here paired with 8GB of RAM, which is a decent mid-range processor that's optimized for gaming. The headline feature of the Xiaomi Mi Note 10 Pro is its camera. The 108-megapixel main sensor is the first of its kind on a smartphone in the world, and it's such an important part of the phone's identity and Xiaomi's marketing strategy. There are 5 lenses on the back. The main camera is 108 megapixel. An optical image stabilizer for the main lens is on board, as is a flash. The main rear camera is joined by a 12 megapixel sensor with 2x telephoto lens for the portrait mode, a second telephoto snapper, this one with 5x zoom and 5 megapixel sensor for zoomed shot, another 20 megapixel ultra wide camera, and finally a 2 megapixel macro snapper. The main 108 megapixel camera takes absolutely incredible shots. Forget the iPhone 11 Pro, Huawei P30 or even Realme X2 Pro. This phone takes some of the best looking pictures you will get from a smartphone. Everything here is on point, colors are rich, contrast is great and images are bright. Also, you can record 4K video at 30 fps. On the front, the Xiaomi Mi Note 10 Pro has a 32 megapixel camera housed in the teardrop notch, and it comes with various filters and features. Selfies looked pretty vibrant and high quality. The Xiaomi Mi Note 10 Pro's battery capacity is 5260 mAh, which is a lot bigger than what you get in most modern smartphones. It also supports 30-watt fast charging. The Xiaomi Mi Note 10 Pro is a powerhouse in so many ways, and we can definitely recommend buying this phone.